Hello, we're going to begin today by opening up the Culminating Task tool. You're going to go to Lesson 1.1 and open up the Culminating Task tool. Now you're going to scroll down to page 5 of the Culminating Task tool. But before we do, I want you to look at our Culminating Task prompt. Does being a teenager positively or negatively affect decision making? I think we're going to go with positivity here. So we're going to scroll down until we get to page 5, where it talks about the thesis statement. And we're going to create our position statement. So what I came up with as a position statement is being a teenager actually has a positive impact on one's making ability. And so some possible supporting claims for that response are teen sensitivity to rewards can lead to better decision making than adults. The traits that many despise in teens are the things that make them more adaptive and productive. And teens take risks because they value reward more heavily than adults do. Now, that leads to our thesis statement being, contrary to popular belief, it turns out that being a teenager actually has a positive impact on one's decision-making ability. Now, once you finish this, I want you to go ahead and head over to the next page, which is the Gather Evidence section. So our first supporting claim that you're going to type here, we're going to drop down from our supporting claims on the thesis statement page. If given rewards, teens can be just as deliberate as adults. The counterclaim would be the opposite of that. If somebody were disagreeing with that point, what they would say, and that is that teens are risk takers by nature. One piece of evidence that supports the supporting claim is when a lot of points were at stake, teens actually spent more time studying the dots than the adults, and brain scans showed more activity in brain regions involved in making decisions. Instead of acting impulsively, the teens are making sure they get it right, and that came from Hamilton. And this supports my claim because teens value rewards so much, they actually perform better than adults in tasks that involve acting deliberately, as long as the reward is great enough. And the counterclaim, as I said, and the support for the counterclaim, many people believe that teens are wired to engage in risky and dangerous behavior. Now, it is your job to shut down that counterclaim. And this is how I shut down that counterclaim. This is simply not true. Studies show that teen brains are just as capable as those of adults when they are presented with compelling rewards. So I want you to go ahead and fill that in for the supporting claim 1, and then we'll work on supporting claim 2. So our second supporting claim is that teens are far more careful and at least as well-reasoned as adults. My evidence to support this is that teens use the same basic cognitive strategies that adults do, and they usually reason their way through problems just as well as adults. Contrary to popular belief, they also fully recognize they're mortal. And like adults, teens actually overestimate risk, and this is from Dobbs. And this supports my claim by saying that the cliches that most people believe to be true about teens are misrepresentations of the way they truly are. My counterclaim is that teens have a reputation as being impulsive and ignorant to risk. And the evidence that supports that is that teens and the decisions they make are usually a problem. My rebuttal to it is that teens have a bad reputation that obscures the reality of their abilities. They are not ignorant to their mortality or risk. So I want you to go ahead and fill in for supporting claim 2, and then we'll pick up with supporting claim 3. Our third supporting claim is that teens' receptivity to risk is an evolutionary benefit. My evidence comes from Steinberg and Casey, who believe that this risk-friendly weighing of cost versus reward has been selected for because over the course of human evolution, the willingness to take risks during this period of life has granted an adaptive edge. This responsiveness to reward thus works like the desire for new sensation. It gets you out of the house and into new turf. This supports my claim because risk-taking is actually an important part of being able to survive in the world. It allows teens to adapt and learn more. My counterclaim is that teens don't understand risk. Some people say that teens are foolish not to recognize the danger inherent in taking risks. And my rebuttal to this is that teens do recognize risks and the rewards may be great enough to make up for them. This is what gives teens an advantage, evolutionarily speaking. So go ahead and fill in for supporting claim 3. And then we'll work on supporting claim 4. Our fourth supporting claim is that teens' inconsistence is a feature of their brain's rapid development and a sign that they are evolutionarily fit. Our support for this is that, along with lacking experience generally, they're still learning to use their brain's new networks. Stress, fatigue, or challenges can cause a misfire. Abigail Baird, a Vassar psychologist who studies teens, calls this neural gawkiness, an equivalent to the physical awkwardness teens sometimes display while mastering their growing bodies. Again, from Dobbs. This supports my claim because the phrase in which teens struggle to be consistent is simply a result of their growth. It shows that their ability to develop during a time when they are still shedding the impulsivity and inexperience of childhood. The counterclaim is teens' inconsistence prevents the age group of being considered good at decision-making. The support for this would be, some might say that teens are ultimately inconsistent. As such, their decision-making skills cannot be broadly categorized as positive. My rebuttal is, just because teens struggle to make wise decisions 100% of the time does not mean that they are overall negative decision makers. The fact that they are progressing in their positive, considered decisions is impressive and should be celebrated. It's a sign they are growing. Go ahead and fill this out, and then we're going to turn to the screen to discuss supporting Claim 5.